He looked ordinary, but inside his apartment lay horrors that would shock the world. This is the Jeffrey Dahmer case.
A quiet Milwaukee man hid a darkness beyond imagination. What police found inside his home changed history forever.
In the quiet Midwestern city of Milwaukee, during the late 1970s through the early 1990s, lived a man whose story would become one of the most chilling true crime cases in American history. Jeffrey Dahmer, later dubbed the Milwaukee Cannibal, was not the typical face of evil. On the surface, he appeared quiet, polite, and unassuming, a man who could blend into any crowd. But beneath that calm exterior hid a darkness that would shock the world. Born in 1960 in West Allis, Wisconsin, Dahmer's early life seemed ordinary, but there were hints of what was to come. As a child, he became fascinated with dead animals, often dissecting them to see how they worked. This strange curiosity grew into an obsession that would one day spiral completely out of control. By the time Dahmer was in high school, his behavior had become erratic. He began drinking heavily, skipping classes, and isolating himself from his peers. When his parents divorced, Dahmer was left alone in the family home, an isolation that would set the stage for his first crime. In 1978, just weeks after graduating, Jeffrey Dahmer picked up a hitchhiker named Stephen Hicks. They went back to Dahmer's house for a few beers, but when Hicks tried to leave, Dahmer struck him with a dumbbell. It was an impulsive act, one Dahmer later described as driven by fear of abandonment. That night marked the beginning of a terrifying journey into darkness. He dismembered Hicks's body and scattered the remains in the woods, marking the start of a pattern that would repeat for over a decade. After that first murder, Dahmer tried to suppress his urges. He joined the army, was stationed in Germany, and attempted to live a normal life. But his alcoholism got him discharged, and he soon found himself drifting until he settled back in Milwaukee in the late 1980s. There, he began frequenting gay bars, often luring men back to his apartment with the promise of money, companionship, or photographs. Once inside, his true intentions unfolded. Between 1987 and 1991, Jeffrey Dahmer took the lives of 17 young men, each encounter becoming darker and more disturbing. He used sleeping pills to drug his victims before strangling them. He photographed their bodies in various poses and, in later crimes, preserved skulls and bones as grisly mementos. But what made Dahmer's case especially horrifying was his descent into necrophilia and cannibalism. He kept body parts, skulls, hearts, and even organs in his refrigerator and freezer. His apartment became a macabre museum of death, where the smell of decomposition mixed with chemicals used to preserve his victims. Yet, despite complaints from neighbors about strange odors and noises, Dahmer's calm demeanor and polite explanations kept suspicions at bay. His calmness was chilling. Even when police briefly encountered him during a near escape by one of his victims, Dahmer managed to talk his way out of it, convincing officers that it was merely a domestic dispute. That mistake allowed him to continue his crimes for months longer. The horror finally came to light on July 22, 1991.
That night, Dahmer invited a man named Tracy Edwards to his apartment. But Edwards sensed something was wrong. As Dahmer tried to handcuff him, Edwards managed to fight back, escape, and flag down 2 Milwaukee police officers. When the officers entered Dahmer's apartment, they discovered a nightmare they could never forget. Photographs of dismembered bodies, severed heads in the refrigerator, and human remains scattered throughout. The discovery sent shockwaves across the nation. The press dubbed him the Milwaukee Cannibal, and the public struggled to comprehend how such horrors could occur right in the middle of a city neighborhood. During his trial, Dahmer admitted everything. His calm, almost detached confessions left the courtroom frozen in disbelief. He described his actions not with anger, but with a kind of eerie honesty. He said he didn't kill out of hate, but out of a twisted desire to keep his victims with him forever. The jury found him guilty on 15 counts of murder, and in 1992 he was sentenced to 15 consecutive life terms, over 900 years in prison. There was no possibility of parole. But even behind bars, Dahmer's story didn't end. In 1994, just 2 years into his sentence, he was attacked and killed by a fellow inmate, Christopher Scarver, ending his life, but not the public fascination with his crimes. The Jeffrey Dahmer case continues to haunt America's collective memory, not only for its brutality, but for what it revealed about the human mind and society's blind spots. How did a man capable of such evil go unnoticed for so long? How could neighbors, police, and an entire community overlook the signs? These questions still echo today. Dahmer's story forces us to look beyond the surface, to confront the uncomfortable truth that monsters don't always look like monsters. They can appear ordinary, polite, even kind. And that realization is perhaps the most chilling part of all. In the years since, the Dahmer case has inspired documentaries, films, and Netflix series exploring not only his crimes, but the failures that allowed them to happen. Each retelling peels back another layer of this dark psychology, reminding us that evil can exist in the most unsuspecting forms. His name has become synonymous with the darkest corners of human nature, an unsettling reminder of how thin the line can be between normalcy and madness. Yet, amid the horror, there's also a renewed focus on the victims, young men who had dreams, families, and futures stolen from them. Their stories deserve to be remembered more than the man who took them away. As investigators, criminologists, and psychologists continue to study his case, Dahmer remains a grim symbol of obsession, control, and isolation. His story is not just about crime. It's about the dangerous mix of loneliness and desire that can twist into something unthinkable. Today, true crime enthusiasts and researchers still analyze his interviews, his background, and the warning signs that were missed, trying to answer the haunting question, could something like this happen again? Jeffrey Dahmer's life and crimes will forever be etched in American true crime history, a story both terrifying and tragic, a reflection of the darkest possibilities within the human psyche. It's a tale that captivates, horrifies, and compels us to look deeper at what makes people do the unimaginable. And while his story will always carry the weight of fear and fascination, it also serves as a grim reminder that evil can wear a friendly smile. If you found this true crime story gripping and thought-provoking, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more in-depth storytelling. Your support helps bring more chilling mysteries, solved and unsolved, to life. Stay curious, stay aware, and remember, the truth is often stranger and darker than fiction.